and deteriorated urban neighborhoods by upper or middle income families or individuals, thus improving property values, but often displacing low income families and small businesses. Now, the gist of it is, it's people coming in from outside communities to a broken down, poverty-stricken community, and they're buying properties up and buying things up and then just generating wealth, and that wealth is often going out of that area. So that's typically what gentrification is.
Gentrification is leaving public schools behind. Gentrification of a neighborhood in Washington, D.C. Public schools in that area, that specific area of our capital is being diversified by the schools but the schools aren't. This drops the enrollment rate and loses funds for schools.
In the schools, it said that gentrification is causing, because what will happen is the gentrifers, they'll come into the neighborhood and they'll buy a property in the neighborhood, they do what they do with it, but their kids, they won't send them to the neighborhood schools. They send them to private schools and other schools outside of it. So that means the public schools are now they're getting lower enrollment, and they're losing funds because less kids, less funds you're going to get from the state. So that's ended up getting these schools closed. And so like we're education majors in a certain type of way, so of course this is going to affect us all. So like now we get to the reason why we chose. So.
Okay, this directly affects EWC students because we are in this community. It is majority of what you would call an impoverished community, or
take your time.
I want to call it poor, but below the poverty line.
Okay.
Most people are living and operating in this neighborhood below the poverty line. And when you have companies, corporations, and people come and move into the community, as he explained earlier, and they send their children out to different schools, that's where when they break up the funding on each fiscal period where the funding is going to go, they do a head count, and they send the funding where the head count is. And then what also happens is businesses, people bring businesses and they get the other sources of income, their day-to-day income, they take that income and they send that also elsewhere, which makes the community much more poor. Then it also affects their education. Then what usually happens is schools shut down until they bring the finances and the heads back. But the only way they're going to bring those children back is what happened is when the people who are in the community originally living below the poverty line, once they misplace them, when they scatter them out, then that's when they bring their children back and then pretty much take over the neighborhood through that process, which is called gentrification. But what I wanted to address is I saw it happen in Atlanta in a area called Kirkwood, part area called Kirkwood, where it was majority black, and it's also right now it's happening in Jacksonville, Florida, in the Springfield area. And it is on the table to happen in this area if we don't wake up and start buying properties, start going through our community, right here in this immediate community where they call Newtown and Grand Park area. If we don't start investing our money in black businesses and into the school, into owning homes and work and thrive in this area, then gentrification will take place also here at the college, because they are planning to have only 35 HBCUs by 2035. 35 is the plan.
But they think everything's equal, so we don't need HBCUs.
And EWC is a perfect example of gentrification because of the lots they buying over here by JWJ, and the lot with the fence around it, they're supposed to be buying that and using that for dorms for the school. So EWC is a perfect example of gentrification.
It was somewhat part of the problem. Just a little bit.
Some of it, if they start sending the money elsewhere, as long as it's community based.
But also, this picture is also like
all right. Great explanation. Okay.
All right. Oh yeah, let me log out. Gmail. I don't need people who think of Gmail.
One more slide.
All right, you got one more slide? Okay, now your references. Now, where did you get your information from? What were your references that you used?
There's 3 different websites. It's dictionary.com, it's for the definition of gentrification, and then and NS News, I forgot, I'm sorry, but I forgot how I did it, but there's no link there for it.
Okay, well, you got some good resources. You got How Gentrification is Leaving Public Schools Behind, U.S. News on World Reports, that's good. Then the definition, like you were saying, dictionary.com, and then Black People
That's
in Connect. Okay,
where I got the fish from.
need to wake up. Very good. Okay, good job.